Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 79 of the Hunger for the Hustle podcast. Now, my guest today is he's no surprise to a Facebook Live. In fact, he's done many. Corey is a butcher and business owner at McGregor's Artisan Butchery and Catering, but also the host of his own awesome, and I've watched a couple just come from the gym where I was watching them, his own live Facebook show, Cooking with Corey. And we're going to be chatting today about Corey's journey as a butcher and, of course, a small business owner, what life is really like as one of the oldest trades in the book. Corey, mate, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the show. How has your day been today?
Great day. Thank you very much for having me on. It's absolutely a pleasure. Great, absolutely fantastic podcast that you do. Just really honoured that you're having me on. Thank you.
So thanks, mate. It's a pleasure to have you on. You're exactly the kind of guy that I look for, and how I know Corey is through a friend of mine, Jess. Jess is Corey's partner, fiance now, right? You guys are engaged, is that right?
Not yet.
All right. Okay. Whoops. Didn't mean to get you in the hot water. I hope Jess isn't listening.
No. That's all right.
We were at a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and we decided that this needed to happen, and it probably should have happened a while ago, but here we are.
Well, it could have happened. It would have been a lot more entertaining if it happened there and then. Actually, the kind of thing that was spinning.
It would have been in one of those tents that we were staying in. Did you stay in one of those tents?
Pardon?
Did you stay in one of the tents? No, you can't have done. You got
no. I was in like the dorm room where I had like 6 other families just around us. It was like coming back to a camp. It was very very strange. Very strange. Just going to camp, but we all had like a 5-month-old children with us. So but it was a great wedding. It was a fantastic wedding.
It was a great wedding, wasn't it? It was only the second Australian wedding I've been to in 5 years of living here. And I tell you one thing that's different. Sorry?
I was just going to say, what a perfect Australian wedding to go to beneath all the gum trees and the kookaburras. And in Red Hill, it's really, really cool. Absolutely cool place.
All outside, and the day before and really the next day it was raining, and it was even raining on the day of the wedding. But as soon as it was time for the ceremony, the clouds just cleared and the sun came out. It was almost a biblical event. It was brilliant. It was actually too hot. We were sweating there, weren't we, watching outside?
It was a little bit hot, and you're the MC, of course, and done an absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
You did do a really good job. Very well worded and sincere, and also funny and well rounded, I thought.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, dropped a little poem in there. In there, as you do.
Gorgeous.
But I tell you, the one good thing I like about an Australian wedding, and it's not the same at a UK wedding. In the UK, they put probably so much money behind the bar, and once it's gone, and then you have to buy your own drinks. That doesn't seem to be a thing in Australia. In Australia, it's just you don't put your hand in your pocket all day long, and in that case, and actually, particularly at that last wedding, I had to watch it as an MC because you don't want to get too loaded on the booze as an MC. And talking of getting loaded on the booze, I know that's something you're quite fond of doing on your live show, but we'll get onto that in a little bit, because before we get onto that, Corey, I'd love to, and you can of course share the story better than me, mate. How did you get into being a butcher, and how long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been doing it for about 13 years now, and butchering is definitely an occupation that you don't tend to go into straight in after school. Generally how it comes, you just become an apprentice butcher, and I was lucky in the fact that my brother had a pretty successful business in Reservoir, which is in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. And I went through all year 12, and it was funny because I actually left year 12 and I got into a illustrating course at a TAFE, and I just hated school. I absolutely hated school, and it's probably not something that you probably should say to a lot of your people out there, but it wasn't for me. And I think from doing 12 years of school and then going into a tertiary sort of thing, I did enjoy it. And whilst I was doing this, I was still that cleanup kid at my brother's butcher shop. And these are jobs saved for 13-year-olds or 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds. I was 18 still doing it. Which I didn't mind. It was a pretty cruisy job. I was happy getting my $10 an hour. Anyways, and so I took a few. I got into the it was actually a take course, and I was there for about 3 months, and I just hated it. I hated being there, and my brother, he's like, well, and all this time I've always been into cooking. I've always loved cooking. I love being around food. My mum's a great cook, and my aunties, and they're bakers, and I've always been around it. My brother being a butcher, and
Yeah.
he did a lot of catering, and well, he said to me, he goes, well, what do you come and work with us? I'll give you an apprenticeship. At least you got an apprenticeship, and then we can do all this catering and blah blah blah. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. And so I went in to do an apprenticeship, and I was about 18. So I was a mature type apprentice.
Mm.
And I after a while he stopped doing any catering, and then I just become like an apprentice butcher, which is fine. And then it took me about a year and a half when I was actually on the tools, even though I've been around it for a long time. Delving into the aspects of butchering, which is a 4-year apprenticeship, and I still think to this day that's a 4 years is just a perfect amount of time with all the intricacies that you actually what you need to know how to do, not from just baking down beef or anything like that, but business side of things. But anyways, from that, so it took me about a year and a half to kind of start finding my feet, and then after that, I just absolutely loved it and just loved everything about it. I love working with my brother, and it's just a great job, and I love interacting with people, and it's one of those industries where you get just a carousel of people coming through the shop with like different demographics and from different backgrounds. So I really enjoyed that, and from there I just kind of just went along with it, and then kind of got out here.
Yeah.
Just great.
And
Yeah.
is that, so McGregor's Mates, is that your and your brother's company, or is it just your
Yes.
place? Or?
No. So this is now it's myself and my brothers. This is the first time we've owned a place together, and yeah, we've been there for about a year and 2 months. So
Yeah.
15 months maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've got a friend in the UK who's a butcher as well, and I know that he makes a lot, perhaps the bulk of his coin from catering. There's a lot of money to be made there in the catering sector of butchering, isn't there, as well as the actual shop itself?
Well, look, I think it's just a different aspect that you put on your shop. It's you can. There's so many different things to be able to make a buck, and I think by catering, um, it gives you another targeted audience that you can actually work from, if that makes sense. If you go and do a catering job for someone or something like that, you will find maybe more customers with the product that you give it. And it's probably more of a creative outlet as well than anything, because you, with the butchering side of thing, it's great when you're actually doing the butchering part, but very rarely do you do a lot of cooking. So you join the two together, which we really enjoy doing. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. If you like cooking, of course. There's not really much cooking to be done in a butcher shop. You're just supplying people with what they need, so they can cook.
Well, that's pretty much the essence of it, really. But I think we're in a great period of time for our industry, because we are doing so many different things. Well, butchers besides, we've always done small goods. So we've always cooked our own small goods and doing our own smoking and things like that. Yeah. So, and then just like I think we started doing just take home meals and things like that. It's definitely a growing industry with that aspect.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I mean, let's talk about that. How you've had this business 15 months, so you've really, I mean, let's look at it now. A good 9-10 of those months, you've had it actually longer inside the whole pandemic business than you've had outside of it. So how did that kind of affect the business? You really actually, the infancy of the business started in the pandemic.
Yeah, well, the pandemic was insane. I've never experienced anything in my entire life like that.
Me neither.
Being,
Hope I never have
being
to forget.
I think it was great for small businesses like us. The fact that it opened up us to a wider range of people that wouldn't usually shop at a butcher shop. They'd probably be supermarket shoppers or shopping centers and things like that, where I think they found they didn't want to be in crowded areas. They probably went out of their sort of comfort zone, and then they found us, which
Yeah.
it was funny. It was funny too because when they brought in the 5K radius thing, because we have we like to have like a different array of customers from all over Melbourne, and with the 5K, we thought that that actually might hurt us a little bit, but we
Yeah.
found the fact that more people, because they probably couldn't go outside their 5Ks, was coming to us. Well, that a lot of people come in, they go, "Oh, I didn't know you were here," and so we got exposure through that. And and I think you just got to get your foot in the door with these sort of people, and once you do, hopefully, which I I think we do have a good enough product, they'll come back. And so
Yeah.
we did, and then they'll come back, and then now they chat to you, now you know their first name and what they do, and it's yeah. So the pandemic, was tough for everyone, and especially a lot of small businesses. But we were
Mm.
one of the very lucky ones that were able to stay open, come to work and trade, and still be monitoring okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's been a big emphasis towards shop local and support local. There's
100%,
even been,
100%.
even by like you even see stuff popping up that the council are working on, putting signage up saying, support local and shop local. And that was particularly a big campaign around Christmas. And I think a lot of people went for that. They're like, yeah, why not? Why not
Definitely.
support local? Why not shop at
Yeah,
my local butchers and actually make a
definitely.
connection with the guy who owns the place and get to
I,
know him and
yeah, I
not
think
buy like a
um,
cut from Coles or supermarket.
look, I think with supermarkets, if you spoke to a lot of people would probably prefer to shop a small business. I think convenience comes into it,
Mm-hmm.
price comes into it.
Mm.
But like I keep saying is, we can't compete with price, and we definitely can't beat with convenience. But I think what trumps them all is that we can compete with service, and that there, in fact, is our what we offer. That service and also quality. So,
Well, that's
and
it. The
with that,
quality. Mm.
quality is probably the most important thing as well. You can be as nice as anything, but if your product's probably not up to scratch, you're not going to come back. But or maybe they will. I don't know. I don't know.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt
Yeah,
it.
but no. Look. Um. So yeah, but this spot that we're in now, it's pretty good. This is my second shop. I was my first shop I was in Queenscliff,
Yeah,
um,
Queen's
which
Cliff.
yeah, which is it's amazing. It's a beautiful spot.
It
It's
really
right
is.
on the
Yeah.
Ball. It really is. It's in the Ballerine Peninsula. It's right on the cove. It's beautiful people. That everyone was good, and that was my first business there. I was there on my own. Um,
Right.
I think I was about 28, something like that. When I took it over, didn't know anyone. Just
Mm.
we used to camp down there when we were kids, and I thought, hey, this would be a bit of a change. Um, and the when we got went in there, I think it's a totally different kettle of fish, with what you're trying to, because you're trying to prestige yourself as well. You try not, and also you're trying to your quality of stuff and the price as well. So that was a lot harder, I think,
Mm.
is the fact that here is with the Templestowe shop, you can tend to be yourself a little bit more because you know a little bit more people. You
Yeah.
have local people around you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was definitely a working experience that I do not regret. That was so hard, but it's led us to where we are now, which is great.
Well, I always believe that if you do the hard stuff first, it will lead to easier stuff later. And if you do the easy stuff first, so sooner or later you're going to have to do the hard stuff
Well,
anyway. So you might as well do the hard stuff first.
well, 100%, 100%. It's
Yeah.
it doesn't. It definitely won't feel like it at the time. You'll feel like you're just digging yourself into a massive hole, and it looks like that you absolutely it does, and you feel like you're absolutely going nowhere, and it's not until maybe years later, or or decades later, where you look back at it and you go, actually, I was doing a pretty good job then.
Yeah.
I was definitely doing my best,
Mm.
and by doing that, hopefully you do get to a spot where you'd actually want to be.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I think it's easy to be hard on yourself as a business owner.
Oh, 100%.
Particularly, it can be quite lonely. It's obviously very very challenging. That everyone can see that from the outside in, but from the inside out, it can be quite lonely. Whereas particularly when you start out and you're doing everything. Which
Mm,
I mean, it's even more different as a butcher. But you're doing like the finances. You're doing, of
mm,
course, the actual work as well. But
yeah,
then you're having to do like any advertising. Social media is always an aspect now of any business, even as a butcher, and you do a great job of that, and you've extended that into something else, which no
yeah.
doubt brings you a little bit more business, actually, I guess.
Yeah, well, you hope so. Like you put yourself in a position to be able to grow, I think, as well. You put yourselves in these positions. Well, you think you put yourself in these positions. You might not be. You might have to revert back to it and say, okay, that's not working. Maybe if I do it this way and do this, that might work. I think it's totally all experience. And I'm still going to stuff up. And I think the more times I stuffed up when I took over Queensland, obviously the more I learnt from it. But I think if you go in thinking, well, I'm never going to stuff up again, you got rocks in your head, because you're always going to, and you're always going to learn from it. It's how you learn from it, I think, is the point.
Yeah,
So,
and try to learn from it to the degree of not making the same mistake twice. I think that's really
yeah,
learning, isn't it? Because that's
yeah.
like you do that and you're just frustrated. You're like, oh, I've already been here. Why am I here doing this
But
again? This is
but
silly.
it'll happen. It'll happen, and
Yeah,
you'll do it twice again, and
yeah,
shit, I've done it again.
yeah.
But oh
And to be
well, it's all
accepted of
fun.
that. Yeah, yeah. Of course it is. It
Yeah,
is all fun. What's your
yeah.
favourite? Tell me, Corey. What's the favourite part of your day that your average day as a butcher? What's your favourite part?
Look, the favorite part of a day is just seeing all the customers. They're coming in, little Miss Marshall, all the way to Frank, the old fruiterer from Berwick. That's probably the best part of the day. That and going home actually is pretty good
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Because I know you've
Well,
you've got you've got a baby that's only a few months old. So of course that's a beautiful
oh
part of
well,
the day for you to go home to every day.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But no, like it's it, we're very lucky in the fact that um we do it's very not a repetitive day. Um,
Right.
we're
That's interesting because
so
I think it would be.
well to an extent it is, but it's you've got, like I keep saying, you've got different people coming in every day, and they've all got different stories, and they all want something different. So they're always going to spice up your day just that little bit. Of course,
Mm.
you're going to set out you kind of weeks. You do your sausages one day, you break all your beef the next day. But I well, that's one thing. I still like making sausages, even though it shits me to tears. It's one of those tedious jobs that just never seems like it finishes. But once one of those jobs that when it's done, you're like, I'm happy I did that now.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of jobs are like that.
yeah, pretty much. I still love setting out a window. Both my brother and I love setting out a window.
Mm.
Anthony seems to be the one that does it most of the time, and I kind of just plod along and kind of kind of fix up his where I think he's gone wrong. Because that's the first thing that people see when they come into a shop, isn't it? You know,
Yeah, of course.
That's your expression.
It's what draws a lot of people into a butcher shop. I think I
Mm,
know what's drawn me in a lot of times. You know, I'm like, oh, look at that. That looks
mm,
great. I don't even know
mm,
what kind of cut that is. I
mm.
want that. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's it's not always actually. Some butchers don't always actually have it as the actual shop front these days. That seems to be a bit more of an old school thing. Do you have it as your actual? You see it through the window?
No.
No.
So
I guess in
we.
Australia that might be a thing because it probably gets warmed by the sun, doesn't it?
Oh, there are still a lot of places out there that have it.
Yeah.
But if I was to take over a butcher that did have one, I would take it out straight away because
Right. What?
well, it's just another cabinet you have to fill up, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. And you've got to keep it. Yeah, and it's got to be absolutely all the time. Not that
It's
you wouldn't want
always
it. But
no,
yeah.
I know, but it's always got to be full. And I've really got short arms, so I've got like
See now
they're always like
your
3
arms are
trays
the problem.
deep there. So I take that out, but we've actually just installed, which I can't wait for. That's going to show trays of corned beef or whatever. We're going to have this beautiful cabinet. It's probably going to take up 2.5 meters of the front window, and then we're going to have all our beef dry aging. Have prosciutto bananas. Just so that's going to be our display for people to look into, which I'm really excited about. It's going to look awesome. Looks so cool.
Yeah, no, it's always. I learned from. I don't know if you ever heard of a guy called Tony Robbins. He's kind of a speaker, a
Yeah,
bit of a business,
yeah.
business advisor, guru, whatever you call him. But he said, and there's one thing I always took from what he said. He said, there's 2 parts of your business you've got to focus on, and that's where you're at right now, and how you can serve the customers you already have right now with better service, with whatever you sell or provide, and then where are you going in the future, and how is your business advancing, and how are you going to get more of those customers in the future. You've always got to think about those 2 things, and I really took that on board. And like exactly what you said there, you know, what's next, what's growing, you know, we've got you got drive-throughs coming in,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And do you like at the longer term, like do you have aspirations to perhaps have more than one shop or expand the catering, or what are you thinking about in that respect? Or are you just happy with where you're at?
If anything, we'll probably draw back a little bit on the catering.
Mm.
I'd like to think that we would probably have another shop, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the one at the moment. I'd like to focus just on the one and get that right.
Yeah.
Maybe in a few years there might be an opportunity that comes along where we're able to get another place. Look, I would love to actually get myself myself and Anthony just a little sandwich bar, just like somewhere where we can, just a tiny little place where we can um, show off a lot of our small goods, a lot of our um, cured stuff, a lot of our curry, a lot of, so that would be something I would look forward to doing more than opening up another butcher shop, because I feel that if you've got your butcher shop and you dedicate yourself to that, and opening up maybe something a bit different, you're not putting, you know, you're not just you're not focusing on the 2 of the same thing. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, mate. And I think what you're predicating to here, and I see it a lot, that a lot of businesses grow too quickly, and then their mouth's writing checks that their arse can't cash, and they grow too big too quickly. They can't
That's
cope
right.
with it, and then the whole thing implodes. I see that a lot, and I think it's a sad thing, really, because there was no need for them to grow that quickly, and a lot of the time they've been influenced from outside people. And you should just make it your own pace. You know, it's your baby. Like literally, is like your baby, and you have to nurture it. And the more you nurture it, the more it grows. But that doesn't have to happen at a rapid pace. It can just happen at the pace you.
And I think you only would do it if you're ready to do it. I don't think if you do want to expand, give yourself a 5-year plan, or give yourself a 6 or 7-year plan, and work off that and say, okay, I do want to expand. I'm going to wait 5 years, and I'll put myself into a position to expand in 5 years. And then once that 5 years comes, it's either you've worked towards it and you're ready to do it, or you're not. because there's no other option. Because if you're not ready to do it and go, oh, 5 years is up, I better go and get another shot. Well, then you're not ready. So, like I said before, you've got to put yourself in a position to be successful. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, mate. Yeah, it's a good way to put it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, I think it's for us. I think I'd love to do it because it's probably something. Because you asked me the question, would you expand? I think if I was to, that's how I'll do it. Not to say that I would do it.
Yeah, slowly. Yeah,
that's all. And we're just having fun here. We're just modest guys anyway, and we get a wage, and we're getting I find that we're getting more successful as the months and the years go on, and we're happy with that. We're happy with that.
It's important not to look at the micro, the day by day, the week by week. Of course, give it your all every day, but you have to look at the bigger picture, the macro, and you have to stand back and go, okay, where is the general trend of my business going? If it's going like this, then that's great, and just keep doing what you're doing. Of course, there's going to be bumps along the road. That's what it's about. That's when the challenges come. That's where you learn. If they weren't there, then when you're just coasting along and all the bills are paid, you're not really learning much there.
But, that's true. That's true. And the other thing is, it's great because we're in a lucky position because I work with my brother who's been in business a long while, so he knows as well. And the thing is, we can still work off each other, so we're not on our own, And that's another thing with your business. It's you ask for help. You're not. It's okay. You're not on your own because there are people out there that will help you, and we're just lucky enough that we have each other to work off. I'm working more off him. I don't know if he asks me many questions, but I'm there if he does. So that's all right.
And do you have an apprentice there? Do you have someone to help you out, a young bloke?
So we actually we put in our other brother who's
okay.
We put him on as an apprentice. We also have another fella who helps us out, a good friend of ours who comes in a couple of days a week, and it's great because he does a lot of the hard stuff, a lot of the body work. So
cool. As you know, I was a plumber. Sorry.
He does all that. Well, he gets it done a lot quicker than what we do. We're at the front talking too much, otherwise it wouldn't get done. But our brother, he was a plumber actually, and with what happened through COVID, he lost his job, which was pretty shit. But we kind of needed someone at the time, and we kind of asked him, it's like, would you want to be an apprentice with us? And he's like, yeah. So it's the three of us now, which is great, the three brothers, and it's a really awesome workplace to be in.
That's fantastic, mate. I mean, as you know, I was a plumber for 15 years, and I was an apprentice once, and it's like I've had apprentices work with me as well, and I think there's a really good value in passing your skills on and watching, and in fact, letting young people like in business make mistakes and going like the amount of time I watch someone about to do something wrong, and I'm like, do you know, I'm not even going to stop him because he needs to make this mistake so he knows not to do it again. And it's like it's a weird paradoxical thing, but there's a lot of fun to be had, like passing that on.
There's something Bill Gates once said, and he's like, you give the hardest job to the laziest person because they'll always find the easiest way to do it.
That's a great
Which is actually really true, because I'm not saying that my brother is lazy, but he'll always find an easy way, and he'll do something, but it's something that and it could be just, I don't know, Dyson chicken and you look at it, you go, why haven't I been doing that for the last 10 years? You're kind of learning as well. You kind of go, but and I think when you're teaching someone how to do something, you're kind of remember, because you're trying to think on how to do it. It's all kind of coming back to you again, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Because you're teaching like, oh yeah, this is why we do this and this, because other times you just do it. You don't even think about it.
You're never too old to learn. You're never too young to teach.
100. Yeah, exactly.
I think if you
Exactly.
like, the second you go, right, I know it all and I'm going to stop learning, you just close yourself down to so many things. You just always got to keep your mind and your eyes and your ears open, particularly
Yeah.
with how fast the world moves now and how everything's changing and there's all new
Oh,
technology coming out to help you with stuff. You've got to keep your finger on the pulse, otherwise it's easy to get left behind in your industry.
oh, definitely. And an industry for ours, and like you said, it's a very old industry, but
Mm.
I think it's probably changed in the last 10 years than it has in the last 300 years. I think um, there's a resurgence with butcher shops.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it was like before with the whole COVID thing, it's probably helped it kick along its way. But um, I remember used to go into the Preston market and they used to the smell and the dirty people that had their dirty clothes on and just blood stained coats and things like that. I don't think
Yeah.
you wouldn't find many butchers out there like that. I know um, one of our main things is make sure that the shop doesn't have that odor and keeping everything clean and it's and because I know for a lot of people that come in, they go, one thing that turns us off is like the smell and everything's so clean and neat
Yeah.
and whereas the years ago, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years ago, you'd come in and there'll be crap everywhere and they'll come out and they'll be wiping their hands with this dirty old rag and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's
Yeah, for
funny,
sure.
we got a butcher's block that my brother got from David Jones in the city when they used to have butchers there. And this butcher's block must have been, it's got to be about 100 years old. It's a beautiful cedar block. And, oh, it's
Nice.
gorgeous. And the funny thing is, it's got this little indentation, this little burn mark right on the edge. And it's where the butchers used to put their smoke when they used to go and serve their customer.
That's crazy. Isn't that mad? I think I read something the other day that it said like there's been more change, like what we've seen in our lifetime have changed. Like how old are you, Corey?
33.
33, so I'm 32, and near enough the same age. Like we have seen more change and advancement in our life than all of the other generations put together saw in theirs. Like with the way that everything's just changed up so quickly, and that's a classic example of that. The fact that like businesses from getting away from being a bit grimy and a bit dirty and a bit smelly to now people are like, no, I don't want to sell for that. I'd rather go somewhere where it's clean. I know it's all like above board, and this stuff isn't like older than it should be, and I it's like people want that, and I think it's important to be the difference, like be the difference, because like, don't be it's easy to be average, but average is over. You're not going to get by with being average anymore. You've got to
Not anymore.
One of my prime things, my prime points of my business, Paddock Blade, is like to not just like satisfy the customer or to please them, but to amaze them before, during, and after the purchase, because you'll never get more business from referrals. If someone you know, love, trust tells you, I had a great experience with this company, you're looking for a butcher, you're looking for a baker, you're looking for someone in digital, you're looking for someone to help you write a book, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to go with that referral rather than over the Google any day of the week. So and how do you get that referral? All day long,
word
man.
of mouth. And it'll always will be. And it's just the fact. A lot of people, and I think through word of mouth, you tend to give people a second go if the first time isn't as good as what your experience as it should have been. Does that make sense? So if you've got something off Google, like you said, they'll go there, they might give it a go, and then they won't like it, and they'll be like, oh, I'm not going to go back there again. But exactly what you said, if a friend said, oh, they're really good, you might think and go, oh, okay, they maybe had a bad day, or something wasn't right, and they'll go back and they'll definitely try it again. Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And in terms of being the difference, Corey, let's talk about your live channel now that you've done off the back of your Facebook page, which every business has a Facebook page these days, but not every business is taking the advantage of doing live video, just like we are now. Like Facebook and the other platforms are really pushing live video because they're trying to compete with things like YouTube and Twitch and other video platforms like that. And particularly as a lot of people are spending a bit more time at home, the computer, the device, you know, your phone, your laptop has become the new TV, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, and the tablet has. But and you started doing your own little live cooking show, Cooking with Corey. It's a lot of fun to watch, man. It's a lot of fun to watch. I love the way you do it. Corey always has this element of surprise that he's like, "Oh, I didn't know I was being filmed. Hi, and there's the camera," and then he gets into cooking.
They, like I said, they always sneak up on me. I never know that they're there, and they get me, and I'm always in like a really position where I shouldn't be. But it's funny. It's kind of like all started, and if you do watch it, I try and be as serious and as informational as possible. It just so happens I tinker with a few frothies at the time, and they tend to get a little bit carried away with it, and sometimes I forget about the cooking. But it's all good intentions at the start. But how that kind of came along, I think I was cooking like, I don't know, it was delicious. It was oxtail, and it was so yum. Anyway, and I said to Jess, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to start. Well, actually, sorry, let me rephrase. I actually wanted to make a bit more of impact on social media, and I kind of wanted to do a lot more stuff. But I didn't. I'm not a person that kind of goes on social media that much and so on. And so I was speaking to Jess's brother-in-law and talking to him about it, and he was telling me that these other kind of butcher guys, they'll kind of just do live feeds and they'll just promote what they're doing at the shop and things like that. And anyway, so I was cooking this oxtail, and I just said to Jess, I'm going to start filming myself. And so I just started filming what I was doing, but I was trying to, at the time, I thought I was trying to be a little bit more, I don't know, what's the word, more of an upmarket sort of, trying to sell it a bit more. And and I think a lot of people took that I was taking the piss, and then I'm like, oh, I wasn't really. I was trying to be like really nice and sincere about it, and I was trying to be, which it just doesn't kind of rub the right way, I think, with me. Anyways, and then through that,
you're a guy who likes to have fun in everything you do, right? You've already said that you enjoy doing it as a butcher, which is fantastic. There's so many people out there who don't enjoy what they do, and they just rub away at the grindstone every day. So, like that play out in your lives, and now you've actually found that you're just cooking, having fun, having a few drinks, and people love that because it's authentic, and people are fed up with seeing fakeness online. And I think that's why it's doing pretty well, you know.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I do enjoy doing it, and I do like. There's sometimes I'll say to Jess, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I think it's funny if I do this and I should do that, but and then the thing is, I try and work it out where I've scripted it, but it ends up I totally forget what I'm going to say, and I go off script anyway. But it's all about cooking, really. And it's if I could give someone a couple of little hints here and there on how to cook, because I'm definitely not the best cook, and I know there's not many good cooks out there, and they could be just like me, having a go at it and just enjoying it, and you know, having a couple of frothies or a couple of sneaky wines or a couple of Malibu and Cokes with it, and
I've got, sorry to cut across you, but I've got to clarify something for the audience, because a lot of my audience is American and from the UK, and they're probably wondering what the hell a frothy is. A frothy in Australia is nickname for a beer. So look, and let me tell you, when I got here, I was like, what did he just ask for then? What did he want? I was like, you have to learn Australian when you already know English, that's for sure.
Having a nice cold one.
But
so for all the people overseas, a frothy is a delicious golden amber from the gods that we thoroughly enjoy, and we might enjoy a few too many of them every now and then. But hey, that's life.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, but with the Cooking with Corey, it just started through ISO, and a lot of people were home, and a lot of people were cooking. Actually, we found from the shop. And they were trying a lot of people that we've never seen before, and they're doing a lot of smoking, and they're doing these crazy braisers and slow cooks, and they'll they're on YouTube and they're looking up all this sort of stuff, and oh man, we got heaps of people that have never cooked before, and they're just giving it a go, which I found awesome. So cool.
Well, the good thing about cooking in your own house, particularly if you're just cooking for yourself or your mates or your missus, what's the worst that can happen? You mess it up and
No,
it doesn't taste very good.
that's
You
it.
know,
Get a
like
pizza.
like that's it.
Yeah,
And probably once you've had a few drinks, I mean, it tastes better than it's meant to anyway. So
every time. There was
can't let
there
us.
was there was actually one episode that I was doing it. I was hammered. I was I really got I really got I really got stuck into it, and
I love that. That's
and,
such an Aussie thing
yeah,
to say. I really got
and
stuck
then
into
yeah, and then I took and I actually like carked it on the bed on the couch, and I think I was smoking a brisket or something, so it was something that was taking forever, and it was at about 8:30 or 9:30. I started at like 11, and I was just drinking, like I was drinking Malibu and Coke, so I was drinking wines and I was drinking all this sort of stuff, and I passed out on the couch. And Jess is waking me up saying, "You got to come and finish this freaking brisket. Not only am I starving, but you got to finish the actual show as well." So I kind of rolled off, and then
it.
oh, that was funny. I
That's
didn't
great.
feeling too good after it though.
It's important, I think, to whatever you do, not take yourself too seriously and enjoy yourself
Yeah,
and have.
definitely.
And I've learned that with this show. When I started out, I tried to be like super professional, keep it
Mm,
like on the straight and narrow all the time. But then I learned as things went on that just be a bit more loose about it, have some fun, have a laugh. People
yeah,
want to have a laugh with you, you know.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
when you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't matter even if it's through a screen like this, through a camera. People sense that vibe and they sense that energy in
Yeah,
it, and they smile, they enjoy
yeah,
themselves too. And
yeah.
look, last year was a year of challenges and struggles for a lot of people. And if you can come
It
across
really
something that
was.
makes you smile and laugh in your own home,
Mm.
fantastic. Why not? You want more of that?
Oh, 100%. I think this has been an absolutely fantastic. This is my first podcast, which I thank you
Is
very
it?
much. Yeah, this is the first
Right.
podcast. I listened to a few of them,
Yeah, that's all.
but I really appreciate you giving me the letting me on for your 79th episode. 79's a lucky number in a lot of countries.
I didn't know
Tanzania. Nah, it's probably not. I just made it up.
that.
But
Before
again,
you
who
go,
cares?
tell me about smoking, because I know about like I know I'm an okay cook. Like
Mm,
I'm not scared of cooking. I'll have a go at it. I can if I've got the ingredients, easy. I can follow instructions. I can do that. So like I'll have a go at it. But smoking, like, is that something you can do at home, or do you need a specific kind of machine or a bit of equipment to do it? And how does it work?
no, no, you could smoke in a 40-gallon drum if you wanted to.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I've got like a little barbecue, which is only like a little barbecue.
Yeah.
This is at home. Um, and I've smoked in that, and it's absolutely come out a treat. We've got an industrial type smoker at work, which where I do a lot of my smoking in. Um, but we do a larger scale of hams, cabanas, smoked sausages, bacons, a lot of things like that. Whereas at home, I might do like smoked briskets and things like that. But
Mm.
I've watched a few people, you know, and how they smoke, and they're not. It's you know they've pretty much got their cylinders or their kind of old rusty old barbecues, and you know just as long as you're getting the right amount of heat and the kind of right closures in the right spot, yeah, you can smoke absolutely anything.
So
And
what's the
smoke,
actual process, or what's the difference between smoking something on like a barbecue and just barbecuing it normally?
well, you're going to be using different heats, so you're going to be using most of the time you're going to use chips or wood of
Right.
some sort, with
Mm.
charcoal and generally coals.
Yeah.
Whereas on a barbecue, generally it's gas, so it's just a gas burner. So different heats. So with the smoking, you're going to be you're going to yeah. So you it's not going to be a penetrating heat. So that's why they usually take a lot longer to cook. So
Got it.
it's yeah, you're using that ambient sort of temperature to cook something. So you're not going to put a piece of steak into like a barbecue and smoke it really, are you? Because it's going to take
No,
forever. You want
not
that steak
specific.
right then and there. Yeah. Yeah, or you just get something thicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that sort of stuff, I'd love to be able to get like a bigger smoker, but got no room for it. And not just as lately, just it'd be just
No.
another thing. It'd be just another thing that gets in the way of my all the other cooking adventures, I think.
Well, I live in St Kilda. It's a bit far from Templestowe, but you can keep it at my house if you want, as long as I can eat everything that you make.
Mate, I'll be more than happy to do it. And I've done some pretty bad stuff as well. So you're gonna have to when there comes good, you have to go with the bad as well. Don't forget.
Of course, rough with the smooth. That's how you learn, especially with cooking. We've got Samantha here on the side that says, got some Yomo brisket from Corey that we smoked on a $60 Bunnings smoker. So there you go. You don't have to spend to get good.
That's awesome, Samantha. And I'm say like a $60 smoker, and I'm like, that's all you need. That's all you need. It's just as long as the quality of the meat I find is good, and you've got a bit of time and a bit of love to give it. Yeah, you can do whatever you like. Yeah, it's one of those things that if a lot of people will go out and they'll say, oh, I've just spent $1,500 on this smoker and it does this and it does that. I'm like, oh, good on you.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with it. You could quite clearly, as Samantha's just said, you can get the same results from a $60 smoker.
Exactly.
I guess it depends how much money you have to waste to start with,
well, that's the thing. A lot of it's not something a lot of people do that often, and that $60 smoker from Bunnings is going to last forever. So all for it.
Yeah, all about it. Yeah. Man, it's been great to have you on the show. It's been great to chat to you. I'm gonna look forward to watching some more Cooking with Corey. I want to see. Let me tell you what I'd love to see, and I don't look. You might have already done this because I'm not going to lie and tell you I've seen every single episode. You've done quite a lot of them. But
that's okay.
If you could, I've seen you start to do longer tail ones, which I think are really cool.
Do a what one?
You could do one which is like cook along with Corey, right? So you tell people these are the ingredients you need, and I'm going to actually take you through it. And then I want you to I'd happily do that with you, man. We could even do a setup like this where there's two of us doing it right. I completely fuck it up, and you completely get it right. And then at the end, we try it, and we see who has the.
No, that's a great idea. I need to do more. And it's one of those things. It's like once ISO finished, it was because I was doing it on a Sunday, and more pubs started opening up. So just and I were like, let's just go for a quick sneaky frothy down the pub, and I'm like, but I really should do this. I'm like, I kept putting it on the back burner. Like I had like I was going to do a Christmas one, which I really wish I had but I wanted to do like a glazed ham and things like that, and like do it in the barbecue. I do it like really nice, but I'll have to wait till next year. But that sounds like an awesome idea. I'd love to be able to, but I'd love to be. I'd have to have someone showing me how to do it at the same time, like relaying it, telling me how to cook and how to. Because I don't have any. I'll have to look up a few recipes first and try them a couple of times.
So wait a second there. You know what you're doing, man. I've seen you doing that. You know what you're doing. I think you're giving yourself enough credit here.
No, I've got a lot of people fooled. Don't worry.
Okay. What are you telling me someone else is preparing your ingredients?
Pardon?
Why are you telling me that someone else is preparing the ingredients for you?
Oh no, I'm just saying if we did it that way, I'll watch someone do it, like be on the Food Channel show and something, trying to copy that, and then people try and copy me. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. But no, I'll definitely do some more. And
keep doing it because it's good, it's different, it's fun, and look, I was thinking about this today. Like, simple rule for life: do more of what makes you happy, do less of what makes you unhappy. It's like and it sounds like, I'm not saying anything that anyone doesn't know there, but I'm saying something that isn't common practice to a lot of people. And for that reason, I think, we need to see plenty more Cooking with Corey, and I hope we do. I know you're a busy man. I know you like being down the pub. I know you've got a new baby, but man, I'm definitely
going to do my best. I really appreciate it. You've given me more of a prompt to do it now.
Mate, that's fantastic. I'm pleased to inspire you. If you
No,
want
good.
to check Corey's show, I've put the link in the comments. McGregor's Meets on Facebook. And do you spend a bit of time on Instagram as well, Corey?
I've got an Instagram page, but I don't do much on it.
All
I
right.
really, again, I should probably start, but I think it's at McGregors Meets. Is there a dot
Yeah,
on for you? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. But yeah, at McGregors Meets.
it's all good. I've put it in the comments. You gave it me before, so
You're a legend. Thank you very much.
you're welcome, man. And thanks for joining me and spending some time with me this
No,
evening. I do
that
appreciate
was
it, man.
absolutely my pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is
Good. I'm
absolute
sure you're
thrill.
going to do a lot more podcasts. And thanks, folks, for everyone who's watching, whether you're watching now, live, on live. I got so far and then I messed it up. Whether you're watching now, live, later on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Twitter, Twitch, whatever you're watching on, give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment, show us some love, and share it with someone that you might think might like it as well, because that helps the show grow. It helps more people know about it. And I mean, that's what it's all about. Sharing is caring. So stay hungry, folks. Keep hustling, and much love wherever you are in the world. Thank you.